Kind of makes sense where I'm going with this? So when you start really breaking that down to who's the hardest person you know, are they in the family? Are they a part of your blood yet? If they're not a part of your blood, then that means that someone in the family has to stop tolerating that the hardest working people are not in your family. If they are in your family, great. You got some examples. Now your job is to either manage that example or take it to a different level. That's up to you. You either manage or you can grow it. You decide. Would anyone around you agree with you? What's your definition? Where's it coming from? If you duplicate a person, are they excited that you say, I got that from them? They taught me. They taught me the work ethic. Real quick. And then the last two questions, what would you switch lives with them? Would I want to switch lives with them for the hardest working person? And the last question is, why is the hardest working person not you? Why is it someone else? And how long are you going to start, or how long are you going to tolerate that? I think that one of the definitions of leadership was leadership begins when toleration stops. When you stop tolerating things, your leadership begins. I stop tolerating the income I have in my bank account right now. Leadership begins. I stop tolerating making these little calls, 20 calls a week. Leadership begins. I'm stop tolerating only getting one recruit a month. Leadership begins. I stop tolerating my family not having respect in the last name. Leadership begins. Leadership begins when you stop tolerating stuff. Because that means you're about to change something. You're not tolerating it anymore. So what are you tolerating in your life that doesn't serve you anymore? Oh my gosh, I have so many kids, so therefore I can't really run the business. Guys, I got 3 kids running around here right now. I'm a proctor and running a business all at the same time. I'm a teacher and running a business on a hierarchy at the same time. So am I supposed to go tell my kids, hey kids, since I'm your teacher today, I cannot run a business to make sure that you have a house over your head? I can easily tell them that. Or I'm just going to go figure it out. It's your choice. But one of those two different beliefs produce something. They produce something. So what do my kids see? What are they reproduce? Like, what are they going to be reproducing? That's all I think about is like, what are my kids going to, and some of you guys don't have kids yet. So for those that don't have kids yet, when you bring them into the world, what are you going to be reproducing? Not what you tell them. Because telling and reproducing are two different things. What are you going to reproduce? Is it going to be morals and characters and principles? Because work ethic goes down to morals and principles and character. It's deep. Like, it gets into that. All right. So that's all work ethic. So maybe you're just maybe you just have a bad definition. Maybe like someone gave you a bad like vocabulary booklet when it starts going to work ethic and things like that, and you believe that's what it is. And some of you just need to unlearn and saying, no, making 10 calls a week, 20 calls a week, 50 calls a week, 100 calls a week, you're not working. I don't know who told you that. Like, you run 10 appointments a week, you're not working. I don't know why you think you're working. Who taught you that? Probably someone you don't want to switch lives with, I promise you that. Doing 25 prospects only, like hitting the minimum standard, you're not really working. You're not working. So stop telling yourself you're working. So what is working? Let's define it, okay? Do you send out 100 messages a day? Because if you send 100 messages a day, you get 10 what? New numbers. That's the numbers for you. Pretty simple. That's social media messages. Do you make 200 calls a week? If you just work Monday through Friday, it's like 40 a day. It's not even a big deal. Smile and dial. It's really not a big deal. It's the numbers. Do you get 25 prospects a week? If you just work Monday through Friday, that's 5 a day. That's meeting new people. Not even a lot. That's a new top 25 a week. If I told you your job today was nothing but get to meet 5 new people, that's it. That's all you got to do. That's your job. 5 new people. Would you do it? That's all you got to do. You only need 5. That's all I need you to do. If I need you to do it for 5 days straight, that's all your job is to do. Guess what will happen? You'll have a top 25 every week. So when you go to Phone Zone, you actually have people to call. Then when you call a top 25, you get 2 to 5 recruits from the top 25 because that's the numbers. Then if you get 2 to 5 recruits from the top 25 sheet, because that's exactly what the numbers are, then that means you have a minimum of what? 50 new prospects, because when a recruit comes on, you get what? A new what? Top 25. Then you keep doing it again and again and again. But a lot of you keep managing your people or managing yourselves, expecting something to happen when you're not bringing in nothing new. Does that kind of make sense where I'm going with this? I'm trying to define it in your head if you're working or not. So the next is what? Do you get a direct? 1 direct a week. That's a result though. You don't get a direct for this fun, like just because you're around. You get a direct because you are doing the front end activity, which is the PCA. And then you write your 5,000 personal points. Where do you write points from? Because of the front end activity. So you expect to write a lot of points in this business without any front end activity, which is PCA? Ask yourself that real question. I just asked it to you, but I want you to ask yourself this. Ask yourself, like say your name when you say it. Hey, Chella, are you really expecting to write points in this business without any front end activity? Ask yourself the question.
Nope.
You should ask yourself the question. A lot of people say, I'm not writing any points. Well, duh. You're not writing any points because you don't have what? Front end activity. It's impossible. So with no points, there's no what? Cash flow. And if you keep getting the front end activity with directs, eventually you duplicate, huh? So then now it starts growing. You have 10 team, then it goes 20,000 points and you start running perfect weeks. But a lot of you guys look at the perfect week like a big old like Mount Everest deal instead of just starting in the beginning. Like do what you can do. What can you control? Can you control sending out 100 messages? Can anyone stop you guys from sending out 100 messages today? This is a real question. Like, can anyone stop you on doing that? And by the way, with social media, you can send it at any time. Someone say, I work. Well, send it at midnight. Who cares? They're going to eventually check the message. Just run the numbers. Do you go to church? I'm gonna give you this is a perfect week to me. Do you go to church? Do you get filled up? If you don't have faith, it ain't gonna work very long here. So do you either go to intercessory prayer in a week or do you go on Sundays? Like what's your schedule of that somehow getting filled up? Do you read 1 book a week? This is leadership. You will not run very long here without having faith, without changing your mindset. So do you read 1 book a week? It's not really difficult. You take a book, you divide the book by 7 days. If it has 200 pages in it, you divide it by 7. That's how many pages you got to read a day. You read a book a week. If you're a podcast person, pop in your ears, break it up. If it's an hour-long podcast, that's 15 15-minute breaks. That's 4 15-minute breaks. You listen to an hour podcast. It's really not hard. Do you exercise? Without energy, you're going to get very sluggish. And you're not going to be able to run 20 appointments because you're going to get tired at 7. Then you're going to tell yourself, I'm working so hard. I'm so tired. I need some rest. And you got to be very, very careful for people that think that work ethic is 7 appointments. Because you will have people around you that love you that will tell you you're working hard and you know you're not working hard. I repeat that again. You have people around you that love you. So they're going to tell you stuff like this. Rest. Like, it's okay. You need to take some rest. It's like you got a lot going on right now. 7 appointments. What are you tired about? Like you ran 7 appointments. Like, we're tired when you run 35, 40 appointments. Okay, cool. Now you're tired. But by the way, as you run more appointments, you don't even get tired anymore. You actually get more energy. It's kind of weird how it works. Once you break the 20 mold, you don't get tired. You get tired at 7 and less than 10 and less than 15 because it's boring. But once you start getting past 20, it's fun. You get a lot of energy. It's weird. You get like a second wind and you don't even get tired. Try it. I highly suggest you try it. You come back to me and say, man, it's weird, man. I was running 7 appointments and 5 appointments a week. I was tired. Yeah, because your talent, nothing was tapped in. You weren't driving anything. It was 7 appointments. Not a big deal. You're bored. You are bored. So, does that make sense? You're bored. That's why you ain't running. When you run 20 plus appointments, you fired up. You're excited. Because you know what you start telling yourself? It's like, I'm working right now. Yeah, let's take this to another level. You get to another level. Try it. Try it. And then coming back to me and say, man, I ran 27 points. I'm so tired. It won't be that conversation. It's going to be like, man, I ran 27. Let me tell you what happened in my 27 appointments. I talked to this guy. This guy has a rollover. It's going to be so much going on. You're going to have so much energy from the conversations. Highly suggest you try it. Exercise, family time. A lot of people say, I'm working so much right now. I don't have any time to spend with my family. BS. Actually, your family wants to spend more time with you when you actually work hard and you actually appreciate it more. So when you actually run the appointment with your kids, if you have kids, right? Or you run the appointment with your wife, if you have a wife, or your mom, or whoever you want to spend time with, then it actually is fulfilling. You're not just sitting there and watching Netflix. Like, you're actually doing something productive together. So you want to spend time, and it's actually, you know, you earned the time together. And then you time, you need some you time. Take an hour, take 2 hours by yourself every week. You need you time. If you have a beach next to you, go to the beach. You have a lake next to you, go to the lake. You have mountains, go by yourself in the mountains. You need some you time so you can reset. That's a perfect week. So let me tell you what work ethic is. 100 messages, 200 calls, 25 prospects, 20 appointments, 1 direct, 5,000 personal points, 10 team recruits, 20,000 team points, going to church, reading 1 book a week, exercising minimum 4 times a week, 30 minutes intervals, family time, and you time. That's a real work ethic. That means you really worked. And by the way, you'll feel fulfilled and you want to do it again, and you want to do it again, and you want to do it again, and you want to do it again. And then someone else that says, you know what? That works. I want your life too. And they're going to do the same thing. They're going to duplicate. Because let me tell you how this works. I'm going to close the call in a minute. Activity is an indicator of vision. Activity is an indicator of vision. If you have low activity, you have low vision. If you have high activity, you have high vision. I can always tell where someone's going based on their activity because I can tell their vision's big. Because if your vision's big, that means you're going to have high activity because you know you have to get somewhere. If you have low vision, you ain't fired up, so you're boring yourself. So therefore, you have low activity. You're not excited about where you're going. You're not excited about where you're going. That's why you have low activity. So then you start justifying why you don't work hard. Then you have to tell everybody around why you don't work hard. Because you have to sell it to everybody. You have to sell it to everybody why your numbers and activity are low. And then you're the last person you sell it to. The next is going to quit. That's the process. So I'm just telling you what the process is. So before you quit, before you sell it to yourself fully, before you sell it to everybody else, look in the mirror and say, am I really working hard? Let's change your definition first. Because the cash flow comes very simply because of this. I don't really have that much time to go through each one of these, but you have active income, which is your personal income. That's written based on your what? Personal pen. You have passive income because you build leaders that can do what you can do. Then you have compounding income. You have compounding income, which means if I write or not, okay, if my frontline leaders that I even duplicated myself write or not, I still get paid. That's when it gets fun. Okay. But you won't have compounding if you never duplicated a frontline leadership that can do it. And then if you don't do nothing because they have nothing to duplicate. Like, what moral authority can I have to a Joel Molina saying, hey, bro, you got to get your ring? Lucancelli, got to get your ring. Hey, Emancipator, I need you to tell me time. Like, there's no more, like, I can't push you. Does that make sense? I can't push you without a separation. That's where the active kicks in. The active has to kick in so there's separation from the next layer so that you can push, so you can duplicate what you want duplicated. So what do you want duplicated? To your front line. Because all you guys have, guys, let's just keep it very simple. Each one of you have a code. And the real question is, what's the value of your code? Will one day you be able to sell it? Or is it just another code in PHP agency? Would someone even want to buy it? Would your kids even be excited if you pass it down to them? Saying, this is the time I put into this, and this is what I'm going to pass down to you. Would they be fired up about it? Like, yeah, like, oh, that's a 6-figure month business. I'm excited about it. Or they'd be like, because you know your kids ain't dumb. Eventually, they're going to start asking real questions. Like, why did you not make your code like valuable when you had that opportunity? They're going to start understanding, like, you were gone, you were doing this, you kept saying you're an entrepreneur, you kept saying these things. Like, why did you not build your value, your code to pass on to us? They're going to get smart. They're not always going to be naive. Like Maddie asks me all the time, hey, daddy, like we're looking at, like, let me tell you what kind of stuff is going on today. Like, we're looking at a couple $1 million houses right now. And, you know, Maddie goes into one of the rooms and she goes, this is nice and all, but why can't we build our own house? I'm like, shit, man, I gotta get to work. More work? Damn. All right, cool. You're right. Why can't we build our own house? Custom. It only costs $500,000 to buy the property first, buy the land. And then you got to build a house on top of it, which makes it about $2 million. So no worries. You're right. Why not? But my point is, the kid's eventually going to start poking at you and saying, what you think is big, it really ain't that big, because Johnny down the street has a bigger house than you. They drive a nicer car than you. Their kids go to the vacation every week. Their kids are getting smart. They're going to start asking questions. Like, why don't we live like them? And you're going to have to answer it. And you have to say stuff like this. Well, hey, Maddie, you own money's not everything. Just remember that. As long as you have enough to have, you know, house over here, you got to be content and be grateful that you have what you have. You have to start saying stuff like that to justify why you didn't really go, why you didn't really max out. Are you justifying right now to the people around you? You justifying to yourself why you ain't really going hard? Are you? Are you justifying it? Maybe you are. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not. Maybe this conversation is not even to you. Maybe it is. Because it doesn't matter what level you are. You could be a marketing director on this call. You could be an SMD. You could be EMD. You could be a ring earner. You could be a new trainee on this call. It's all going to hit you different levels. It's the same principal conversation. So I don't know what you want personally. Some of you guys want to be authors. Maybe some of you guys want to be movie directors. Maybe some of you guys want to drive nice cars and just have the option of doing that. Maybe you guys want respect in your family because your bloodline isn't strong. And you're like, you know what? It's going to change. We're going to have respect moving forward. Our last name's going to hold some weight. Maybe a person that says, you know what? I don't like the injustices that are going on either to my culture or my community, then things need to change. Maybe you want to be the change for that. I don't know. But let me tell you very simply, if you don't change your incomes and the value of what you demand the marketplace to pay you, you'll never be able to change your free will. And what free will means is your options. Like, can you choose? I said this on the call on Wednesday. Can you even choose? Or someone make choices for you? Can you choose? Like, my wife is driving the new Porsche. She's coming in. She's telling me why I should buy it, why I shouldn't buy it. I'm telling her why I shouldn't buy it. She's telling me why she should buy it. Well, my point is, we can have the conversation. Does that make sense? Like, we can at least have the conversation. She's over saying, okay, we need a new G-Wagon. I'm like, do we really need that G-Wagon right now? Like, give me like a couple months, babe. Like, no, we can get it right now. Like, I know we can, but like, option. Oh my gosh, you know what? I'm over here like, let's go get a like $600,000 house. Nah, we can get $1 million house. Yeah, we can, but option. Oh my gosh, kids, I want McDonald's. No, I don't think I want you McDonald's. I think you should go get Fleming's. Option. But my point is not options for you. It's options for the people that you reproduce. I hope you caught what I just said. I'm not talking about options for you. I'm talking about options for the people that you reproduce. So, a couple questions for you before we end. What are you going to commit to this week? Is something going to change with you? Or are you going to keep tolerating what's going on? When is leadership going to begin? So is your work ethic going to change? Because now you know the definition of it. Is it going to change? Or are you going to keep selling yourself on the old definition that it's not serving you, your life, or the people around you? So what are you going to commit to do this week? How many messages are you going to send out? How many calls are you going to do? Write it down and commit to it and go get it. Next question was for you is, what's your target on a weekly income? Some of you guys have bad relationships with money. What's the most money you made in a week? What's the most money you made in a day? Write it down. What's the most money you made in a day? What's the most money you made in a week? Write it down. Is that a lot to you, by the way? Like, is that a lot to you? Whatever you wrote. Are you excited about it? Some of you may be. I don't know. Some of you are like, nah, I'm not excited at all. Well, get yourself excited about life, man. Like, go do something this week so you can break your income record. Like, the biggest income day we've had so far, my biggest income day was 62,000. I'm like, okay, I got to crack 6 figures in a day. I'm not trying to do it in a month. I've done that already. I want to do it in a day. That's where my mind's at. So, but maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay. Maybe it's, I just want to get $1,000 in a day. Cool. Just shift the zeros from the left side of the numbers to the right side of the numbers. Let me repeat that again. Shift the zeros from the left side of whatever number you have to the right side. So maybe it's $1,000 is a big deal to you in a day. We'll shift another zero over. What is that now? 10,000. It's just a zero. So how much work ethic does it equate to get another zero to the right side? It's going to take a new commitment. What is that for you?
Times 10.
And by the way, how many more options do you get from just adding another zero to the right of your number? Everything comes down to options. What could you do more in a day now? Like Kenny got paid, like, wait, Kenny, you got paid what, 20K last Tuesday or something like that in a day? Is that the most you might have made in a day?
Yes, sir.
It's exciting, and he should celebrate it. But I don't get excited for him. You know what I get excited about? It's like, shoot, man, one day, I'm gonna add another zero. It's not gonna be 20,000. It's gonna be 200. One day. How long do you want that day to happen, though? Is a real question. On your current work ethic, how long would it take to add another zero to the right? You guys know your work ethic. On your current work ethic, how long would it take to get another zero to the right of the number you have? And then you ask yourself, because it's not about the money, it's about the option. So what type of options you want in your life? What type of options you want for your kids? Because a real question you're going to ask yourself and ask the leaders that you follow. And I hope you go to MMA. Oh my gosh, I hope you go to MMA. I just pray that you're qualified for MMA. I pray for you. I pray for you that you're qualified for MMA. I'm gonna mess up your whole mind on leadership capacity and all that. But what you should ask the leader that you follow, okay, is what's your vision that you have for my children? Not for me. What's the vision you have for my children? Because politicians always think about the next election. And most people today are politicians. They make deals. They're just trying to get things done for the current generation. Leaders think about future generations. So what are you going to do? Hopefully, whatever decision you make, we see a change with you, because if you don't make a change, what you're saying out loud to the marketplace is that I'm tolerating where I'm at and I'm okay with it. And when you tolerate, you decrease, because it means you're managing. And God only believes in abundance. He created everyone to be a king and a queen. He created everybody to be a ruler over this kingdom of heaven on earth, okay, which is the kingdom here, okay? And he created you to have salt, to be the salt of the world, which means elite. Everything else is a lie from the pits of hell. Everyone's created to lead. Everyone's created to have dominion, and that's what you should be doing. If you're not doing that, you are playing for Satan. Like you're playing for him. You play on his team. You're not playing on who created you. So make a decision on the team, your jersey you really want to start wearing moving forward, and we'll start seeing in your activity, because that means your vision's increasing. I'm excited for that, because then our options together are going to increase. And those small conversations you have with yourself or the people probably around you currently right now, you can no longer have them because you become allergic to them. And you start challenging stuff like, we deserve more. We should get more. And we are going to get more. You coming with me, or you just want to stay where you're at? Because I'm looking to grow. So hopefully we make that decision, and we'll be traveling to different places and having all this cool stuff happen, and your associations will change, and the cars and the houses and clothes, and yes, you should change. A lot of people say, I don't want to change. You should change. If you're not changing, then that means that you're the same person you've always been. That's not cool. That's like having the same phone since I was in high school. It should change, right? It should update, right? Are you updating? We'll see. I look forward to it. So back to you, Joey. Hopefully that made some sense on work ethic and money and your relationship with it. And if you're going to be able to be the one that makes the change, or you're going to be the one that keeps tolerating in your family. So that's what I got